I made a mock draft about a week ago, and I want to just change up. And I just want to go ahead and make another one, really. Just because I feel like some thoughts have changed. I've looked at more mocks and I've watched a little more on the prospects, and the draft is in about 30 days. So I'm going to be doing my second version of the round one mock draft for the 2024 NFL draft, and I'll be using PFN for this mock draft. Um, it says it right up there too. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So at the first overall pick, I'm gonna have the Chicago Bears draft Caleb Williams. I think that that's the obvious pick. And now at two, some people are projecting Jaden Daniels. I saw a funny mock draft with JJ McCarthy here, but that's just utterly ridiculous. I'm gonna have the Commanders take Drake May. I don't think that's gonna change at all. Now at three, the Patriots have said that they could do anything with this pick, and it's been weird how they've been talking about it, but I think the Patriots are going to take Jaden Daniels. I think it's the move that makes the most sense. And I'm basing this mock draft off what I would do and a mix of what the teams would do. And that's why here, instead of taking Marvin Harrison Jr., I think the Cardinals are going to trade back because they've said they're open to trading pick, and the Vikings have said that they're looking to trade up and they're okay with trading up. So I'm going to have the Vikings trade up with the Cardinals here. The Vikings are going to send the 11 and 23, and the Cardinals are going to send the 4. And some other picks could be added to that, but I'm just not going to get too detailed here since those other picks most likely wouldn't affect this mock draft or the second and third round for this one. And the Vikings are going to trade up and take McCarthy because I guess he's been going up on draft boards. I guess I'm not an expert, although I have my opinions. I think he's the QB5 in this class, and I think that he definitely does have the high ceiling people talk about, but I don't think he's worth it at 4. Vikings, I still think will go up and trade for him and take him at 4. But the Chargers at 5 here, I'm gonna have them taking Marvin Harrison, losing Keenan Allen and um Mike Williams is just so big. So you're gonna need to go out there and get a guy that's gonna make up for that. And here at 6, I think the Giants, looking at their depth chart here, Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal are just fine. They do not need tackle. So I'm going to have the Giants take Malik Neighbors here. I think that's the most logical pick for them. I think they'll let Evan Neal rock it out another year to try to get settled into the NFL. At number 7, the Titans have fixed their corner room with L'Jarius Sneed. They've added Calvin Ridley at receiver, and I think one other guy too, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that offensive tackle Joe Walt has to be the pick here for them. I think it makes the most sense. At 8 here, looking at the Falcons, they have a very solid offense right now. I don't think they should take a Dunes at 8, even though it wouldn't be the worst pick in the world. I think that Edge is going to make the most sense here. And I think that Dallas Turner is going to be that fix for them. And it's going to be the right pick for them. And here at 9, the Bears taking Caleb earlier. I don't think they should take a Dunes here. Just because I think that receiver room is good enough without having to take him. But once again, I think the move is going to be edge here. DeMarcus Walker isn't bad, and Montez Sweat is good, but I think it'd be better to upgrade at edge, and I think that Jared Verse would be an upgrade over. Um, I'm sorry why I'm blanking on his name. I think Jared Verse is an upgrade over DeMarcus Walker. And here at Jets, the Jets did land Mike Williams, who came from the Chargers, and they landed him as a free agent. So I think that Brock Bowers is going to be the right pick here for the Jets. I think it makes sense for them. They really do not have a tight end room right now. Their number one tight end is Tyler Conklin. And if the Jets are going in for playoffs, I don't think that's the guy that is really going to help you too much. And that's definitely a weak point on that offense. So I think Brock Bowers is the pick at 10. And the Cardinals here at 11. This is where they traded back. And I think Adunes is going to be the right pick for them here. Missing out on Marvin Neighbors sucks, but Adunes is still a very good player, and they have the 23rd and 27th to improve other spots. And the Broncos here at 12. So this needs a little bit of context for the quarterback spot. A lot of people think the Broncos could trade down, but it might make sense just for them to pick a QB at 12. And Bo Nix is the best guy remaining, and he is really good and might not get enough credit for it. But I think the Broncos sticking and picking at 12 might make more sense considering the fact that Sean Payton in the past lost out on Mahomes because he got jumped. So I don't think that he wants to risk that again here. And the Raiders very well could take Nix at 13. I think he is a very good starter in this league, and he will be. So I think taking him at 12 might be a reach now, but I don't think he'll be seen as bad. Even after the season, I don't think he'll be seen as a bad move. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders here. I think that, their offense is pretty solid, but looking at their corner room, obviously, they have Jack Jones and Hobbs, but not that's not the best corner room. I think that what they're going to want to take here is Quinyon Mitchell, and I think that that's really going to help them improve their team and their roster. Now, the Saints are interesting here. I think that they could take tackle. Trevor Penning has not been the best player in the league, and it might be time just to give up on him. And it kind of sounds like that they might be. And depending on how Ryan Ramczyk heals, too, tackle might be the move here. So I think that they're going to take Fuaga because he is one of the more versatile guys in this class here. And I think that he could translate good over to right tackle and that he wouldn't struggle too much with it like how other guys do. But here at 15, we have the Colts picking up next. And I think that this is a wide receiver pick here. I could even see the Jags trying to jump ahead of the Colts, especially since the Jags don't have a true receiver one here. But the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr. is their best receiver. And that's not a bad guy to have as your best receiver. But that's really their only true receiver. Looking here, they lost, forgot his name. Not going to worry about it. But they have Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alice Pierce. And maybe they want Josh Downs to step into 2 position, but I just don't think you should be hoping on that. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the pick there. Going to the Seahawks, they do not have a single left guard on their roster. And even ESPN acknowledges that by going from left tackle to center. So I think that the right move for them here has to be offensive guard. They could take Jackson Powers Johnson, who is listed as a center on here, although he has played guard quite a bit in college, and he's looked just fine there. I'm going to have the Seahawks go ahead, though, for the guy that's truly played guard his whole or most college career in Graham Barton. And the Jaguars here, obviously they've missed on receiver, and they could go ahead and take Adonai Mitchell here. I think he's a little better than Keon Coleman. So if I were to pick receiver here for the Jags, I think that Mitchell is the guy you're going to want to take. But looking at this team, they do have other needs as well, like corner. They did just sign Ronald Darby, so that's going to be a bit of a help. But their corner room still isn't the strongest. And defensive tackle and offensive tackle, they lack quite a bit. So I think that they're going to go Fashanu here. I think that that is an upgrade over Anton Harrison. From what I know, I think Fashanu does play on the right side, unless I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I think that Fashanu is going to be the right pick for the Jaguars there. And I think that that's going to help them proceed and push for a playoff spot this year. And the Bengals here at number 18. Some people, I think that they could take tackle here because Trent Brown's injury history. But I think that it might be best to go defensively and try to help bolster up that defense. Obviously, their corner room isn't the best. DJ Turner's solid, but it's not like they have the best corner room in the league. So I could see cornerback as an option. And even their offensive line is a little weaker interiorly. But I think that corner will be the move. I think that corner is the move that makes the most sense for them. And I'm going to have Terrion Arnold go off the board to the Bengals. And here at the Rams pick at 19, a lot of people are thinking Drazon Newton, which for some reason PFN has him listed as Johnny Newton. But I think that the right pick for the Rams here is going to be Laiatu Latu. I think that edge would be the better position to try to improve here, especially since Deshaun Johnson is their starter at left end. And I think that they could get a solid interior D lineman further down the board. So moving into the 20s, at pick 20 here, we have the Steelers. They really need most on offensive line, but I think that tackle is going to be the most important spot they need to try to get. I think that there are still very good receivers on the board here. So I think that they could go receiver too, but I think that the pick should be offensive tackle for them. I'm going to have them take Troy Fautanu out of Washington. And the Dolphins here lost their starting center, um, Jackson or Johnson. Can't quite remember. He's very solid though. So I'm going to have them replace him with Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. And the Birds here, obviously the Eagles lost in the first round and they could use some improvements here in the draft. So I think that the way that they're going to improve is most likely by taking corner. I think that there are still very good corners on the board here with Nate Wiggins and McKinstry that can still go first round. I think that the pick is going to be Nate Wiggins. But moving on here to the Cardinals. The Cardinals, we had them take Adunes earlier, I believe. Yes. And they also pick at 27. They definitely do need interior D-line. But I think that you can wait till 27 to see if either Drazan or Byron Murphy drop down there. And I think that corner is still a big need for them. I think that it's more likely that the Buccaneers or Cowboys try to take corner than they try to take interior D-line, which really I could see either of them taking them or not even going the same position. But the Cardinals are going to go ahead and take Kool-Aid McKinstry here just to make sure that he doesn't get taken by the next three teams up. Now, the Cowboys here, I think that tackle is going to be the move for them. They lost Tyron Smith in the offseason, and they definitely need to replace that position. I think that the Packers here are going to take Cooper DeJean. I think he makes the most sense for them. He can play corner or safety, and I think that that's going to be the right pick for the Packers there to help bolster up that defensive secondary. And the Buccaneers here, they're going to need defense as well. They have Vita Vea, Logan Hall, and Cansey there on the defensive line. So I don't really think that you're going to worry about D-line there, except edge rusher, except most of the best edge rushers have gone off the board here. I think that you could be worrying about corner a little bit, even though the next guy up is TJ Tampa, and I think it just might be a bit of a reach here. You might even say Ennis Rakestraw Jr. could be the next guy up if you favor him over Tampa. But I think that the move here for the Buccaneers might actually be offensive line. You need right tackle. Cody Mock is very solid. I'm not too sure on Sue Opeta, or I think Robert Hainsey is very solid too. But I think that you might try to upgrade at right tackle there and draft J.C. Latham out of Alabama. Now the Cardinals are back up, and both of those defensive tackles did fall here, so they're going to have their pick from Drazan Newton or Byron Murphy. I'm going to have them go with Drazan Newton here. I think that he's a little better than Byron Murphy, and I think he's the right pick. The Bills up next, losing Gabe Davis. They're going to go ahead and replace him with Keon Coleman. I think that he's the better player, and he makes more sense for them than other guys still on the board here. You could try to improve on that defensive front, but I think that Keon Coleman is going to be what they really need to help power this team for a strong playoff push. And the Lions coming up next, they could use corner, edge, even defensive tackle. Their O-line is very solid. I don't think that they are going to want to improve over Graham Glasgow or Kevin Zeitler. But their interior D-line is a little weaker. I'd say that they would be fine on edge right now, and I don't think you want to worry about that too bad. And even corner could be somewhere you want to look, especially after losing Cam Sutton. But I think that might still be a little early for TJ Tampa, even though I very well could see him here. So I think with that being said, that they're going to go interior D-line, and they're going to take Byron Murphy. With the 30th pick here, the Ravens are up. And I think that this is where you look and you say, their receiver 1 is Zay Flowers, and their receiver 2 is Rashad Bateman. And I think that this could be time for the Ravens to go ahead and take another receiver. I think that Mitchell is very good and that he's going to fit very well with the Ravens and that he'd be a good fit there. And the Niners, after losing their starting tackle, I keep blanking on his name. Even the first time I tried to do this video, I just kept blanking on his name. So here we're going to have the Niners go with Kingsley out of BYU. Not too sure how to pronounce his last name. We're not even going to attempt it here. But with the final pick, the Super Bowl winning Chiefs have a big need at receiver. I think that that's very apparent. God knows how they won the Super Bowl with that receiving core last year. But this pick here is going to be Xavier Worthy for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that is all for my 2024 version 2 NFL mock draft. I will try to do a second round to this mock within the next week or 10 days. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that and see you guys later.